Hey folks, this is immigration attorney Hassan Abdullah here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm preparing this video to give a very timely, useful tip on choosing a local newspaper, local ethnic newspaper, because that's one of the options for recruitment in labor certifications. It's a very useful tip, and we're going to make use of it, take advantage of it in our future cases because it's very important, especially nowadays, to select the proper local newspaper if that is one of the means of recruitment that you're selecting in your labor certification process. So that we're going to give you a very useful tip in this video. I want to preface this by saying that, lately USCIS, the Department of Labor, U.S. consulates in particular, they are making things very difficult for people applying for visas, immigration status, coming up with all kinds of creative ways to stymie the immigration process. But, we've got to come up with ways to work around whatever policies they come up with. So this video is talking about a specific policy that seems to be very new in terms of using local or ethnic newspapers. My colleagues and I, other professional attorneys, we've discussed this issue, and it seems that using an ethnic newspaper or even a local newspaper can be a very dangerous thing to do when you're doing a recruitment for PERM labor certification, because when you get audited, what they're now saying is when you select a local or ethnic newspaper, if you select an ethnic newspaper, for example, for a systems analyst, you run the risk of getting your PERM case denied. Why? Because their rationale is it is not good faith recruitment to use an ethnic newspaper for a computer science type position or any type of position that's not related to a specific ethnicity. So basically, they're saying that if you're not a cook or you're a translator, then if you're none of these type of occupations, then you shouldn't be advertising in an ethnic newspaper. But that doesn't make sense. I understand how some people may even say, well, that sounds reasonable, but here's why it's not. There's nothing in the regulations that say that you have to select the most the specific ad that you'd have to estimate would reach the most number of qualified candidates for the job for any of the optional recruitment steps. The required recruitment steps, such as the Sunday newspaper, which is a paper of general circulation, yes, the regulations do very clearly say you must select a paper that is most appropriate, that will reach the widest number of applicants in that area. So, in the San Francisco Bay Area, we generally choose the San Francisco Chronicle for that Sunday ad. Now, what about local ethnic newspapers? All they say is you have to document that you have posted an ad in a local or ethnic newspaper, and you can meet one of the 10, you have to select 3 out of 10. So you can meet one of the 3 recruitment efforts by just providing a tear sheet of a local newspaper or an ethnic newspaper. Now, it's not reasonable, because basically the way the Department of Labor is coming down on this is they're saying that pretty much no ethnic newspaper is appropriate, and that that goes against the notion of seeking minority candidates. It goes against the notion of the Department of Labor's goal of affirmative action to some extent, because it should actually be favored if you're trying to also give opportunities to minorities. That's why an ethnic newspaper should be acceptable. And it is the very definition of good faith if you want to try to recruit to a broader audience of different ethnic groups. So I'm talking about ethnic newspapers. But also, again, local newspaper, as long as it's published in the local community, which serves the job market, where that job is going to be, it meets the definition of a local or ethnic newspaper, and that should be accepted because nothing in the regulations directly says you can't use it, but they're construing it to be bad faith recruitment, and that the concept of good faith recruitment is settled by established case law. Now, how do you get around this? It seems that no matter what newspaper you select, if it's a local paper, it's going to be under the gun. You know, they might just deny the case saying, well, you use the San Francisco Examiner and, you know, it should have more of a classified section. Even that newspaper has been denied on audits, according to one of my colleagues. So what is the way around this? Well, a case came out somewhat recently. It's a BALCA decision. It is called Matter of Simrise. This the citation of this case, if you want to look it up, Matter of Simrise, is 2012-PER-00558. Now this really makes it easy. This decision came out in 2012, and what does this decision tell us? Well, there has been a lot of debate about whether you can use the Sunday the ad you select for a paper of general circulation as a local newspaper. There's been debate about this. The issue in Matter of Simrise was, can you use this as a local paper? So, for example, you pick the San Francisco Chronicle as your general circulation paper for a job in the Bay Area. You post it for 2 Sundays, but you also post one ad on a Wednesday or a few ads, you know, on the weekdays. And the Department of Labor denied that case, and then the person who filed the labor certification appealed it to BALCA, and BALCA came out with this decision, and they said, no, you can use this as a local newspaper. And it's because the term local newspaper in the regulations is devoid of any specific definition of local newspaper. So they came to a reasonable conclusion that as long as it is not a nationwide publication like USA Today, then it can be considered a local newspaper. So now, to take the guesswork out of it, again, the BALCA decision was saying that as long as it is either distributed in the local community, in the county, or even the state, if it's a statewide publication, it can be considered local. So our approach now, a good approach is, generally, for the most part, to just use that as your local ad. So what you can do is find that local paper of general, the paper of general circulation, that is, post it for 2 Sundays, and post it on and then post an additional ad on a weekday. That should pass muster, and BALCA will back you up. So if you get audited, and the Department of Labor wants to see all your ads, you will submit the 2 Sunday ads and you'll submit a weekday posting of that same newspaper. So the San Francisco Chronicle, for example, on a Wednesday. And you should cite this BALCA case too, just in case. So this is a practice pointer. This is useful not just for, this is more of a practice pointer even to attorneys who might be dealing with this issue, if an attorney is filing a PERM case, may have done a labor cert, in the recruitment. This will help attorneys as well, who might not be familiar with this particular case. So that's basically the tip that I'm providing in this video, and I hope this has been helpful to those who have watched this video, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.